Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to do another video on a Bushwacker upgrade that I think a lot of people can probably benefit from, and that is going to be adding rooftop solar but yet retaining the ability to still get your camper in and out of a 7-foot garage door. I know in our door that we go in and out of, it is right at 7 feet tall, and we wind up with about 3/4 of an inch of clearance from the ears of the roof rack to the weather stripping around the garage door. Now the weather stripping will move up maybe another half inch, but it's pretty tight. So let me show you a video clip of just how tight we're working with, and then we'll come back and look at what we can do to hopefully achieve our goal. So you can see in that clip, we don't have a lot of room. I really like the setup that Brian with DIY Outdoor Life did with the tilting rooftop panel so that he can have the panel chase the sun or track the sun. He can tilt it left and right, and and as the sun angle changes, he can chase that with the panel. I really like that. I just don't have room for that and still be able to get it inside the garage. And with water being enemy number one of the camper, our camper stays in the garage unless we're using it. So I need to go back and find a way to achieve rooftop solar, the least amount of height gain as possible. So I spent one whole evening. I took measurements on the roof bars and the roof vent, and I knew how long and how wide I could have panels and still be able to achieve that. I also wanted to be able to make sure that our roof vent would open up because we're going to be off grid most of the time, and we don't carry around a ton of lithium ion power to order to run the air conditioning at night. So that roof vent was going to be really important to us. So it needs to be able to open up. After an hour or two of searching and reading all the specs and measurements, I thought I found the perfect panel, and it's the BougeRV 9BB 100-watt panel. So I was going to put two of them, one on each side of the roof vent, up on the roof bars, and I thought, man, we're in, because the height of it wouldn't stick up any more than the ears on the roof rack, and it was a 100-watt panel, had great efficiency, really good outputs and numbers for what it was. Price was great. I thought this is going to be it. Comes in, I set it up there, and it is oh so close to working, but not quite. It hits the roof vent about an eighth of an inch on each side. And I was like, oh man. So immediately I start thinking, well, I can cut those ears off of the roof rack and weld on some new tabs and mount them on the outside. And, a lot of sparks flying all over the place in 5 minutes. But instead I stopped and thought about it and regrouped. And I think I've come up with a solution that will allow me to still mount them to the roof bars, but yet not raise the height of the panels to the point where it's going to be an issue, but still move them to the outside enough that lets us open that roof vent up. So let me grab the camera, we'll hop up on the ladder, and I'll show you what the issue is that I have, and then what I think I can do to fix it, and then we'll see if that actually works at the end. Up here on top of the camper now, we've got the two panels, the 9BB BougeRV 100-watt solar panels, sitting up on top of the camper, and it's a perfect location for them, and they are just so close to being able to work. If I come over here and get you in here, you can see just how little it is contacting that roof vent. I mean, it is just barely dragging up the side, but it's enough that the mechanism of the roof vent isn't going to push that roof vent up between those two panels. So I've got to find a way in order to move the panels a little bit to the outside towards each of the awnings. And I think what I'm going to do is notch the bottom edge of the panel so that the roof rack ear right there will go up inside the panel, and then I will drill through the panel and the ear right here and mount to that. So the silver part of the frame of the solar panel will actually be on the outside of the panel. And I'm just going to put a little notch on the inside, on the front and the rear of each one, so that this ear goes up inside of this silver channel. They'll still retain the strength of the channel the way it's intended to, but this will just be up inside. And then over on the other side, what I'm going to use are actually roof bar fog light mounts that clamp to that bar, and they're a cast aluminum, very strong, will work well for that application. And I think between the two, I'm going to be able to achieve the goal of having 200 watts of rooftop solar still fit in a 7-foot garage door and still be able to open the rooftop vent. So let me cut these notches on one, and we'll set it up there, and this is either going to work or I'm going to make an expensive mistake on my solar panel. Here I've got the panel marked, and you can see what I'm going to do now. But I don't want to cut all the way to the edge because I want to leave this outside edge intact. So what I'm going to do is just cut this rectangle out just inside of the edge, and then that will allow this panel to slide down. And I don't want to go all the way down to the glass on the backside, so I'll have to make sure that I stop that with something while I drill my hole and get it mounted in position. But this will allow, we'll gain almost a quarter of an inch clearance on each side, so there'll be plenty of room down the center for the roof vent to open, and still we'll keep this mounted close enough to those ears that will allow us to go in and out of our garage door the way that we do currently. Let me get these two slots cut. We'll stick it up there and cross our fingers that this works the way I think it ought to. So it's not very often that I can say that things work better than what I intend for them to work when I do something, but I think this is one case where I think it's going to work out pretty slick. What I didn't realize when I started on this was that this outside piece right here is actually a double wall extrusion, and it is hollow on the inside with just a little bit over 1/8 of an inch clearance inside from the inside to outside wall. Well, the roof rack ears are 1/8 inch plate steel. So what they're going to do is slide right inside this inner and outer wall and rest, perfectly inside of that. And then we'll just raise them up and put a clamp to hold them in position, drill through that, and put our bolt in there. And I think this is going to be really slick. So let me get the panel back up on the roof, and now that I say that, I really hope that this works the way I think it's going to. But I think this is going to work out really well. I've got the first one in position now, and my idea of how it was going to slide down over the ears of the roof bar actually worked out really well. You can see on this side, I've got my roll bar light mount, and it actually has a little bit of a shelf built into it that the light, or that the solar panel can sit on. And now I probably blocked my view. If you look down through there, we've got almost a 1/4 inch of clearance side to side between the roof vent lid and the side of our solar panel. So we come over here to the outside, you can see how that slid up inside of that extrusion. So that worked out really well. I'll drill a hole through that, slide my mounting bolt in there, and we'll be off to the races. I only gained 1/4 inch of height overall between the top of the ear, what the top of the ear did measure at, and now what the top of the solar panel measures at. So a 1/4 inch gain I can live with. And these go up there really slick. That's a nice solid mount. Um, I think this is going to work out really well. So let me get the other panel done and in position, and we'll come back and show you how the roof vent will go up in between them. There we have it. We've got the two 100-watt BougeRV 9BB panels mounted to the roof bars. Well, not technically mounted because I have somehow managed to lose the hardware that I bought to mount them down with. Still looking for those, but they're in position ready to mount down. And I've got the roof vent completely open, which it will probably never be that far open when we're using it. But you can see that even with the roof vent being a little bit off center from the bars or something just a little bit off, it still has clearance to open side to side. And that was one of the big goals, was to have the two solar panels mounted on the roof as low profile as I could get, still get in now that 7-foot door, plus get that roof vent open like it is. So I'm going to go in search of that hardware that I bought, because I know that I put it somewhere. I just got to figure out where that is and get these mounted down, and then start wiring them up. I'll put links to in the description for the panels and those bar mounts. They worked really well. I had no idea that they had that small little ear or shelf on there, and boy, that works really sweet for setting the solar panel down on. And it is almost the exact height that it needs to be to mount up to match up to the other side. So they're sitting nice and level. Overall, I'm just tickled to death on this one. So to make adjustments as needed for your setup, but this worked really well for us. Thanks for watching.